95% of people with fatty liver disease do not even know. And David looks at me shocked and says, "Doctor, really? Fatty liver disease?" And they all think that it is just a statistic, but the disease is very dangerous. Welcome to your daily health briefing. I'm Dr. Albert Tackett. This show is here to help you navigate the complex U.S. medical system, one step at a time. Whether you are decoding a new diagnosis, fighting for a referral, or just trying to stay informed, you are in the right place. Let's get into the science. David comes to see me for his office visit. And David has gained 16 pounds since the last time he was in the clinic. And looking at his body mass index, it is now 37. And I hit David with this statistic. Hey, Dave, do you know that for people with a body mass index over 35, 70% of them have fatty liver disease? And David looks at me shocked and says, "Doctor, really? Fatty liver disease?" And I said, "Yes, David. But what are the symptoms?" And I told David, that is exactly the point. Because, dear friend, 95% of people with fatty liver disease do not even know that they have a disease. And they all think that it is just a statistic, but the disease is very dangerous. That's why I want us to talk about that today. So let's get into the science. What is fatty liver disease? Now, my medical colleagues might yell at me right now because there are people who police names in medicine, okay? The real name of the disease nowadays is something called metabolic associated steatotic liver disease. I know, yes, I am also confused by the name. That is why I stick to fatty liver disease, because you and I can understand each other. All right, so what is fatty liver disease? Basically, it is a disease born from primarily two causes, diabetes and obesity, and I'll come to those facts in a little bit. But the disease itself represents an accumulation of fat in your liver cells. And then you would be justified in asking me, "Well, doc, what's the big deal if there is fat in my liver?" As one of my patients told me, "I can see the fat around my belly, so what is the big deal if it's also in my liver?" And that is where the problem lies. Because when fat sits in the liver, it creates a situation of inflammation, a chronic inflammatory response in the liver. How does that manifest? It goes through certain stages. I'm going to try as hard as I can not to bore you with physiology, but if you think about it, inflammation, when it happens over a long time in any structure, be it the liver, the heart, the kidneys, anywhere, it tends to produce fibrosis. Think about fibrosis as scar tissue formation. You know, like when you have a wound, you have a cut, and then it grows, there is a blood clot that forms, and then over time, the body creates fibrosis, and it turns into a scar. That is a good thing. If that happens in the liver over time, that is a bad thing. That's why in the liver, fibrosis is a problem. So you go from fatty liver disease, which we call in clinical terms steatosis, and then you go to inflammation in the liver caused by the fat, and we call that steatohepatitis, and then you get into the dreaded part of the story, which is fibrosis. Because fibrosis is bad, it forms scarring of your liver. If you've ever eaten liver from an animal, and I love liver, you realize that liver is soft. It's like some jelly. It's not exactly soft like jelly, but somewhat of, a midway consistency. It is hard, but not very hard. It's soft, but not very soft. But when you have steatohepatitis and then fibrosis, the liver gets harder, and then you turn into liver cirrhosis, where the liver becomes like a piece of rock. It's hard, and that is the bad guy. Why? Because liver cirrhosis makes you lose most of your liver function. And then the solution at that point is a liver transplant. Otherwise, you start having complications like a swollen stomach, swollen legs, low blood pressure. You can bleed from something called esophageal varices, which are dilated blood vessels in your esophagus that can kill you. And most importantly, you can develop something called a hepatocellular carcinoma, which is basically liver cancer, which in most cases is invariably fatal. That is, it invariably kills the patient. That is why we should actively screen for fatty liver disease, and we should actively treat it. But before we complete this section about the science, let me leave you with a few facts. Again, as I said earlier, only 5% of people with fatty liver disease even know that they have it. And number 2, fatty liver disease has overtaken viral hepatitis and alcohol as the leading cause of liver cirrhosis. Number 3, fatty liver disease is the number 1 cause of liver transplantation worldwide today. And number 4, it is estimated that by 2050, over 95,000 Americans will die from complications of fatty liver disease. These are staggering but sobering numbers that we must address, especially in primary care. This is where the patient and doctor allyship is at its best. Why do I say that? Because the question that patients always ask is, what are the symptoms of fatty liver disease? Unfortunately, it is a silent disease. Think about it. It is a silent disease. Doesn't cause any symptoms. Why? Because the liver is a very, very resilient organ. You will not feel anything or even have any symptoms until you have lost about 85% of your liver function. Think about that. That is why it's important to screen for fatty liver disease. Just as kidney disease, heart failure, and other failures of major organs, they usually do not speak until it's too late. So you have to work hand in hand with your doctor. And if you are my patient, ask me, doctor, am I at risk for fatty liver disease? Because the answer is, it depends. People with type 2 diabetes have a 60 to 70% chance of having fatty liver disease. People with obesity, that is a body mass index over 30, have an almost 70% chance of having fatty liver disease. So if you are in this category, ask me or ask your primary care doctor to screen you for fatty liver disease. And the way we do that is, number 1, we use ultrasound, right? An ultrasound of your liver to look for fatty liver disease. Number 2, we have a screening tool called the FIB-4. This is basically an index that helps to see if somebody has fibrosis in the liver, and is based on a few measures: your age, your platelet count, the AST and ALT, which are numbers we find on your labs. And based on that, if your score is less than 1.3, you're somewhat okay. If it's between 1.3 and 2.3, moderate risk category, and more than 2.4, you're at high risk, meaning you may have or are likely to have fibrosis, which is the bad word I mentioned earlier. And so what do we do? What then? Well, right now, there are just 2 medications on the market for treatment of fatty liver disease with fibrosis, if your fibrosis score puts you at grade 3 or 4. And these medicines are, number 1, resmetirom, approved for treatment of fatty liver disease, and the other one is the fan favorite, semaglutide, right? So if you have fatty liver disease and you are also obese and you meet criteria based on the fibrosis score, this is also an opportunity for us to do a prior authorization with your insurance for you to receive semaglutide so you can lose weight and also treat the underlying cause and treat the fibrosis. Okay? So this is basically the approach to fatty liver disease. This is the risk, and this is how we work with patients to overcome the disease. So, as we wrap up this episode, let me leave you with a few nuggets. Number one is that fatty liver disease is dangerous for the aforementioned reasons, right? It can lead to liver cirrhosis, hepatocellular cancer, and eventual death or liver transplantation. Number two, it is treatable with weight loss and medications that I mentioned earlier, like resmetirom and Wegovy. And number three, you need to work hand in hand with your doctor to make sure that you are screened, diagnosed if necessary, and appropriately treated if necessary. Okay? I will see you at the next episode because the fight never stops. This has been the Daily Brief. Medicine is not about certainty. It is about responsibility. Decisions are often made with incomplete information, but they are always made with your safety in mind. In a system that can feel rushed and fragmented, you deserve clarity, continuity, and an advocate who sees the whole picture. I am Dr. Albert Taken, your physician ally, high-level science, human-level care. I will see you at the next briefing, or I will see you in the clinic.